little unfortunate today because I have two very nice speakers before me. So while Mario 1 was very, what to say, very motivating, Mario 2 was very engaging. So all of you were in that PPT. So rather than giving 7 minutes to all four of us, you gave like all 40 minutes to him. So, but really, I enjoyed that presentation. It was not just engaging, but also tech heavy. It started with the telecasting everywhere and subtitles in the bottom and then connecting to the word. Now my PPT seems like I have made in 1968. That's what it looks like, and you'll realize that. So forget that. The other challenge that I have is that while the PPTs that were done or the presentations that were before me were for everyone, okay? I will try to make it for everyone, but it was largely meant for research audience, okay? So I was thinking that it's an academic conference and which is likely to be, I'll meet more of teachers, researchers, budding academicians and so on. So uh, some of you might find it, less interesting. So please bear with me because I can first take through PPT, and if time allows, then I can talk about many things that interest rest of you. Okay. So is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, how many of you are researchers? Everybody is asking like different kind of professors. I'm asking from my professors. So how many of you are researchers oblique teachers? Yeah, I know first two rows will be mostly that, but how many of are budding researchers? So now Mario has introduced the idea of being teachers as one of the lucrative professions going forward. So how many of you are looking to be in higher academics later? Not many, not many. I can see. So you have done very well PPT, but you have not convinced them enough. So this is something that we need. And I can tell you from my experience and many of those who are sitting in first and second row that it is very satisfying profession. Okay, so it may not give you as much money as you are like coder for all that AI, but it will give you something that where you said that you don't have is something like work-life balance, word of ideas, creating more entrepreneurs, creating more innovators. That kind of opportunity it gives you. So some of you should consider, uh, about PhD, about research, and what of that. So next 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I'll talk about this, and then I come to maybe a top. No, you need not to come only for this. I just said that it has thinned out. I can understand. It's completely all right. You need not to call people to, So my topic here is leveraging technological innovation for management research. Okay, so I'm looking at how whatever we have spoken, how people who are doing research can benefit from it. So it's a short PPT. That's the one good thing I could have. Uh, I have also written down few agenda. Basically, this agenda is about the research process that we do. In more about academic research, where you need data set, where you need data, collection of data for your purpose. You need analysis of that data, and you also need collaboration, because that is again an important thing. Co-creation you talked about. So co-creation is something of knowledge is also needed. So we may not be self-sufficient in terms of knowledge creation. Okay. So what we have seen in this world, I think I'll not. So what we have seen that in recent time, we have availability of lots of data set. Think of 10, 15 years back. If you need to get a data set, it was not easily available. And even if it was available, it was not in usable format. But what we are seeing increasingly is a lot of data is coming. Partly it is also coming because of different search engines, different requirements, different things on internet. But this is also partly because we are moving in the open world. So I take few examples, and this can help you in your academic projects as well, even if it's not PhD. So there are some research databases such as World Bank. Okay, so if you go to World Bank site, you can find different kind of data set on healthcare, education, poverty, many social topics. ISDS is a large-scale survey of Indian household survey data, I think, data or something like that. But it is on Indian households. There are lakhs of those. Then there are other websites, other people who are coming up with that data. Okay, so ADR is Association for Democratic Reform. You keep on listening about whenever there is an election, there is some report comes every time that इतने लोगों इतने करोड़पति थे, इतने लोग जो है क्रिमिनल केसेस में फंसे, इतने लोग जो है उनकी संपत्ति बढ़ गई, and all those things. No, you keep on reading in paper every time an election happens. So ADR publishes that, and they also maintain a database of elections every year. So they have big data set availability on all those parameters. Yes, Cricinfo, I said that because many of us use to see those websites. I use Cricinfo very often, and many of us actually use. So if you look at World Bank data, it is not very visible. But if you look at World Bank open data, it provides population across the board, and there are different parameters you can look at, which says that all social parameters, trade, poverty, health, education, skill development, and all of those things, and they are cross-country data. So in case you are taking some project, some point of time, you can take that. And they also provide data for this first two rows. They provide data in very usable format, in Stata, in Excel, in that kind of thing, which you can directly run into your system. Then you have Cricinfo. You have just taking few examples. So what you see that Cricinfo, Smart Stats, some of you might have seen. They provide all the data about it's very, it's not visible, but they have test matches, one day, T20 data, then they have IPL and others. They also have batsmen, wicket keeper, bowlers, everybody's data. And how does that help? Is that you can see that there are people who are using this data for measuring some statistics. Okay, so there you can find people who are saying measuring batting consistency and comparing batting rates in test cricket. Okay, so just way of analyzing the data. Okay, why AI is important? There is somebody who has to feed to AI. Okay, so how you look at data and how you feed to those kind of mechanism, it can help that. You can look at more innovative applications for statistical tool, but there are many more. It can come. Similarly, it is from World Bank data and Ministry of Family Welfare and Health and RBI databases. It uses mix of that. It says pattern of healthcare expenditure in India. What I'm trying to say that there are ready to use data set available. We need not to go dig, ask question on ground. We can sit there and think about what problem we can solve with that data. What thing it comes to us. Is there anything that is occurring to us which is important to be addressed? And it can be addressed just by click of few buttons, So I'll take a couple of my example. It's not of self-promotion, but about telling what I have done using publicly available databases. So this is a paper I talked about women's self-employment. It published 2 years back. So it talks about which is the right age for women to take up entrepreneurship. But not exactly that. Looking at when government need to intervene. So I try to look at data. So हम लोग क्या बात करते हैं? हम लोग support करेंगे, कुछ funds होंगे, कुछ training होगी and all those things. But is there any right time for intervention? So what we found that after graduation, women entrepreneur percentage suddenly dips. Till class 8, there is not so much knowledge or energy or money available. So what is the right time to intervene? 8 to 12. What if between when someone is studying between 9 to 12, that is the right time to give entrepreneurial education, understanding about all the schemes that government have. So that comes much later. But when you are budding, so Mario, one asked you about who want to be budding entrepreneur. Maybe we need to introduce it much early. Somebody goes to your school and then asks, then they should be able to say, yes, I'll go into entrepreneurship. And this was publicly available data which I analyzed with my colleagues and tried to get what is the right time for it. This is another paper which was in EPW. So we talked about higher returns from higher education. So we talk about, we don't mix this too much. We talk about हम agriculture productivity कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं और education कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं. But this paper tries to look at productivity with the farmer's education. Okay. Now what I find is that when farmer has done undergrad or more, the tendency to earn is much more. Okay, much more from the same plot. Okay, same farmland. And any idea why it may be so? Very easy, isn't it? Like if you have done 10th, 11th, you might not be well aware. लेकिन अगर आपने undergrad कर लिया है, postgrad हो, तो आपकी knowledge बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगी. How you use map to understand where you have, what is the fertility rate of this land, weather condition, government schemes. You just awareness is much more. Which kind of seeds you should use, which kind of pattern is available. So this information is not available or may not be easily usable for somebody who is not learned enough. But what we do, what we see in the world, people migrating from villages to towns once they get that education. So this paper tries to argue how we can retain people who are doing higher education, at least some of them, to village itself. And that can change entire village ecosystem. It can solve your food problem. It can solve many other problems. Okay, so this is how we are trying to answer question using the publicly available database. There is no private data used here. Okay. Then you also have many more. So these were two examples that I took from my thing, and I can explain more. Then there are some of the top journals which also use one data as a proxy. Okay. So Strategic Management Journal is one of the top FT50 journals in classification. So there is grading in journals also. Those who don't know behind. Okay, जैसे gold medal होता है ना, gold, silver, bronze, वो journals में भी होता है, academic journals में. So this is one of big famous journal. It talks about dancing with the stars and talks about benefit of a star employees temporary absence for organizational performance. Is it a relevant problem? आपकी टीम में एक स्टार है जो बहुत अच्छा करता है, वो थोड़े दिन के लिए छुट्टी पे चला जाता है. Okay? Is it good for organization or bad for organization? Not necessarily. Not necessary. How you answer? You are answering based on your understanding. Okay? What we are trying to say, go dig data and try to understand how it is. Okay? So what these people did, they looked at NBA data. They looked at National Basketball Association data from US. It is widely available. They looked at star in each of those clubs and tried to see when they get injured or when they opt out or something, does that increase performance or does that decrease performance? And they have their own results. Okay. So if you are following football, then you can also remember that this was something that going on a few days back. Reddit published this article without knowing that this has already been. Has Ronaldo grown too big for his coaches? So how do you answer that? You try to use some data from different teams that are performing, look at how they score, how do they play. When there are Messi, there is Ronaldo, there is Neymar, or teams like Japan who doesn't have any big star. Okay? So this is something that you can look and compare and answer for yourself, and do ask questions. So if you are researcher, this is absolutely important thing. But if you're not researcher, then also you have inquisitive thing, and you can look at data to answer your thing. Looking at text mining and search engine. So this is again a thing. Mario was demonstrating how you use one text search, it gives you results. And this has, the archival data has become easier. So if you can write codes and understand, it can also help you understand many things, what the word is thinking, okay? So how many times in newspaper this kind of thing has appeared and how does it mean? So if you can know writing code, you can do those techniques and do this. In terms of collecting data, all of you are using Google Forms, okay? But it has many more applications. When you try to see, you'll realize that it can do much more wonders than just collecting some data and representing in that scale. But you also see that there are many data such as interview data and transcription. What is new about this? Anyone? What is the role of technology in transcription? 15-20 साल पहले अगर आप एक पेपर कर रहे हैं जिसमें आपको सीईओ से मिलना है, जैसे आप मारियो से मिले, ओके, यू टुक 1 hour इंटरव्यू, ओके, अब आपको क्या करना है, उस इंटरव्यू को कोड करना होगा. पहले तो 1-1 मिनट की क्लिप सुनेंगे, उसको लिखेंगे, उसके बाद उसका पूरा एनालिसिस करेंगे. सो इट वाज अ टीडियस प्रोसेस. एंड थिंक अबाउट इफ यू आर टेकिंग इंटरव्यू ऑफ 20 CEOs, okay, or you are talking to 500 farmers about the project that I did, whether he is saying right thing or wrong, okay. Now what has made easy, and Mario demonstrated well, is that you can take interview over Zoom call, and many of those things you get pre-recorded, and if you can build some extension, it can give every transcript in a written format. It may not be perfect, but it will give you easy access to that data. So collecting data has become easier with technology. Data analysis, so there are platforms which analyze data, something like R and all, where there is community, and you need not to pay, it is open source, etc. There is collaboration, you can work on documents together. And examples?
Google,
Microsoft, I use Dropbox a lot because it has better syncing properties, but that is how all those cloud spaces. So I am writing here something, and my collaborator in US, when wakes up, sees whatever is there and start correcting in the same very document rather than I sending again and again. So it has enabled much more collaboration across places, and within place also, not only across geography. And again, video conferencing has become better. So with COVID, we have seen that everybody is used to video conferencing. We are also better in terms of working on document together. We can also work on problems together. So this is my last slide. So what I suggest, this is largely to researcher and less applicable to others who have still not known what I have been talking about in the last 15 minutes, is be creative in your questions that you see. Okay, so how well you can articulate what you are looking to ask. You have to be aware about available options. So you are looking at Dancing with the Star kind of paper, and you have to look at what are the databases, how I can tie that performance with this organizational performance, and so on. And you have to be practical in terms of availability of resources, including time. Like whether you want to go and explore for 3 years, 4 years, or you want to be in 6 months, 10 months, 15 months. So your timelines, your monetary resources, your resources in terms of health, all that thing is key to understand. So basically the idea is that world has changed in terms of research. Everybody can be researcher, but those who are already researcher may benefit from whatever has happened, and those who have not started can perhaps look at how to benefit from it. And even though you are not doing PhD, you can still answer your questions in more robust way rather than saying, I think that a star doesn't work, or I think a star works. Let the data say it, okay? Whether it works or it doesn't work. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir,
for sharing your valuable experience. Let us now welcome our last guest speaker of the day, Professor Shankar Prawesh, to take over the session.